Namaste, welcome to Buddha's teaching. Today, I'd like to talk about mindful living. What is mindful living? Um, when we get into our car, when we going somewhere, we're gonna drive, or we're gonna ride a motorcycle or a bicycle, right? So we're gonna travel. So right now, let's say we're gonna ride a motorcycle or we going to drive. I'm going to drive. When we get into our car, we don't just go in the car and start driving right away without looking left or right, correct? When we get into our car, we buckle up the seat belt, we start the engine, and then we look, left, we look right, we look in the rear view mirror, make sure there's nobody around, make sure it's safe to back out, make sure it's safe to go forward. So when we do that, it's called mindful driving, right? We are mindful of our surrounding. We know where the peoples are all around us, different motor vehicles in the front, at the back, on the side, okay, and at a different lane in case you want to change lane from left to right or making turn. So you are aware, you look around of your surrounding, you are aware of your surrounding. Occasionally you look in your rear view mirror, you look at the outside rear view mirror to check the traffic at the back, but most of the time you look forward, you look to the front as you drive. So that is called mindful living, mindful driving, right? Do we do that on in ourselves also? That is the question. When we drive, we are mindful of what we are doing, right? We drive our vehicle, okay? So for us, in our day-to-day activity, in our day-to-day life, when we encounter different experiences in our life, okay, how mindful are we of what goes on inside our mind? How mindful are we of what goes on inside our heart? That is the question, okay? Because in Buddha's teaching, the Buddha always tell us to look within. So what goes on inside of us? When we see things, beautiful things, okay? When we see flowers, okay? How do we feel? There's some kind of a pleasant feeling arise within. Are we aware of that? Okay. When we walk around, we encounter people. Okay. We see people around. How is it that are we feeling? What is it that is going on inside our head? Do we look around at people and we start having unwholesome thinking about people? Because as we all know, nobody knows who we are better than, of course, you and me. What goes on inside our head? We look around, we see people. There are times that instead of just seeing people, there's jealousy arise. Okay, or when we see somebody of different, let's say, nationality, of different color, there's discrimination arise. Okay, So what is it that goes on inside our heart? Okay, that is what we need to be mindful of. Okay, that is the teaching. The teaching it teaches us to be mindful of what goes on inside our head, inside our heart. Okay, the body that we have here is just like a car, it's just like a vehicle, and the mind is the operator, right? Is the mind aware of what goes on, or is the mind just, you know, do some judgment about people, doing some unwholesome, generating some unwholesome feeling inside, looking at people, have hateful feeling toward others? Those are the things that goes on inside of us, right? Are we aware of that? See, that is what we call mindful living. Are we aware of what goes on inside our head? Are we aware of what goes on inside our heart? Okay, so that is called mindful living. Mindful living is that is being aware of what goes on inside. That's called mindful living, right? You go to work, you meet people, you have conversation. Okay, um, two people having conversation, talking. It's possible that at the surface level, people smile at you, or you smile at other people. Okay, saying hi, how are you doing, all that. But inside, what goes on inside? There are times that people say one thing, but inside they think of something else about the person. Okay, what goes on inside there, that is what important. All right, it's not a show that you put out, but what goes on inside. Okay, that is what important. That is what uh, we're talking about, wholesome or unwholesome. That what goes on inside right there. Okay, not out there. Okay, so are we aware of that thinking, of that emotion, of that, um, idea that we have in our head? Okay, that is what we call being aware of this in here, in here. And when we aware of that, then we become mindful of what is it that we do. Now, why is it that we need to be mindful of what goes on in here? Okay, because we know wholesome speech, wholesome activities leads you to wholesome result, right? And of course, unwholesome mind, unwholesome speech, and unwholesome activity that we do lead to unwholesome result. So we want to keep the spotlight on what is unwholesome that, you know can arise within, because we all have default uh, unwholesome and wholesome mind faculties in all of us. So by being aware of when unwholesome things arise, we become mindful. So as we operate this body, we become mindful of what goes on in here, because as the Buddha said, the mind precedes all things. Okay, the mind precedes all things. What does it mean? The mind that is going on right now, that you're thinking, okay, that goes on right now, is the creator, is the generator of your thinking, of your emotion, of your reaction. So the mind precedes all things. You don't just speak without any idea first. You have some kind of idea first before you speak. you have some kind of idea first before you do certain things, right? So what is it that goes on inside our head, inside here? Is it anger? Is it full of hatred or jealousy? Or is it full of worry, sadness, resentment, and all of those unwholesome things? Those are the things that make us feel unwholesome, make us feel not good. So those are the things that we need to look at, and we need to follow why those things arise. Okay, so that's what we call mindful living, right? So mindful living can lead you to wholesome thing, okay, that you can lead you to understand about yourself, okay, and once you understand this, and then you can operate this vehicle in a proper wholesome way, because we all want to be happy, correct? We all want to be comfortable and be among friends and have good relationship. So we all want that. Nobody wants to have argument, fight, war, and all that. Nobody wants that. Because life is already uh, difficult as it is, to earn a living, to support this physical body. So everyone is looking for happiness. So if we want happiness, if we want to be happy, then we should generate what does not cause unhappiness, right? And then we look, okay, what is it that cause unhappiness? Okay, what cause unhappiness is anger, right? Hatred and all that. So those are the things that you want to watch so that it doesn't create unhappiness within. So that's what I like to share with you today. All right. Pardon. Okay. Um, that's what I like to share with you all today. It's about mindful living. All right. If you like this clip of video, please uh, subscribe and share. All right. For future video. Until next time, I like to pay respect to the Triple Gems. I like to pay respect to the Buddha. I like to pay respect to the Dharma. And I like to pay respect to the Sangha. Namaste.